Hello everyone, I'm Antoinette and thanks for joining my pick a card reading. What we're going to talk about is the upcoming full moon. So what's happening for you this full moon? And so what I did was I actually ended up pulling some oracle cards. I didn't intend to pull it from this deck, but it just kind of came out that way. So we got it from Work Your Light Tarot. So pile one, it's You're Already Doing It. And just kind of look at this and see if it's resonated. By the way, I did pull a few tarot cards underneath just to get us started, and then we'll do a live shuffle for the rest of the reading. But again, this is pile one. You're already doing it. So you can just look at that card and decide if that resonates with you. If you would rather pick a stone. I chose amethyst today. It's an amethyst pyramid. So there you go. Realized I still have my sticker on that amethyst and it's like a few years old. So the next one up, so this is pile two, and it's Keepers of the Earth. And a lovely picture here. So really just meditate on it, see what resonates with you. As a reminder, you can pick a variety of ways. So, you know, if you're choosing by the stone, this is labradorite, another pyramid. I do have a tendency to like raw stones, but for whatever reason, I love the pyramid shape, so I have quite a few of these. So this is labradorite. So that seems to reflect well on camera. So if that resonates with you, then please pick pile number two. And then pile number three, Birthing a New Age. And I'll let you just kind of see this card here. All right. Perfect. And if you're choosing the stone, I chose a rose quartz and another pyramid. Okay. Another sticker on it. I need to take those off. Okay. Perfect. So I will see you at the reading. Hi, pile one. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you chose, you're already doing it. This is your reading. As a reminder, this is a general reading, so anything that doesn't resonate, go ahead and disregard it. If you find that this reading just doesn't resonate, period, you can choose another deck. So you're already doing it. Stop overthinking and keep facing your true north. And then the tarot cards that I selected, it's kind of ran. So we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. It's actually the Five of Pentagrams and what do you call it? Supernatural Tarot deck. The Hangman. Death card. So you have a lot of major arcana here. And looks like we have the Nine of Swords. Okay. So for pile one, what's happening for you this full moon? Well, you are facing your true north, and with that, the Five of Pentagrams, or the Five of Pentacles. This is the first one out, and it's talking about you're recovering. You're in recovery mode. You have just persisted and have kept going despite some difficult challenges. This card talks about a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's the phase that you're in right now. You're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're starting to see things are coming together for you. And hence you're facing your true north. Now it talks about stop overthinking. And I want to honor the fact that you've been resisting that. You've been resisting overthinking. And I don't know if that's like a natural mindset for you or maybe it just comes out with stress. But ultimately you've been really resisting the idea of being an active participant in, we'll say, like just letting it happen and overthinking and like stressing. Like you're not doing that anymore. You're keeping your eyes focused on true north. That is reinforced here by the Hangman card. The Hangman card is really reflecting something that I think is significant. And I'll hold it up so you can see it. This is Castiel from the show. Okay. The Hangman card represents a totally flip of perspective. So when we start thinking about this overthinking, you've already stopped it. So that's what this card is acknowledging. It's not telling you to stop overthinking. You've already done it because you have honored a hangman energy, which I'm telling you is one of the best energies to embody in the deck, but it's so difficult to do. Pile one. So really hats off to you because what you've had to do is surrender and really embrace the fact that you're doing the best that you can. Letting go at times, letting go of obsessive thoughts and just having faith, forcing yourself to see a new perspective. That is incredibly challenging. And during the full moon, this kind of what you've been building, they're saying to just hold on to it now. Because whatever little things come up during this time, just hold on to it. You're already doing it. Everything you need to do, even if it's a difficult week or even if it's an easy week, just keep doing it. You're already showing all the tools you need. Okay, so these cards lead us to the Death card, another major arcana here. And this literally represents death in the show. Okay. This card is incredibly significant. If you watch my show, you know it's one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love actually getting it because it doesn't mean death, but it could mean death of prior beliefs. It could mean some sort of transformation. Definitely reflects endings or change. For you, this is all positive. Whatever things you've been overthinking, the Death card coming out really signifies it's coming to an end. You have seen it through and it's coming to an end. So you can take solace in that because sometimes it's really hard because we feel like, how much longer? Oh my God, I'm struggling. Like, this is confirmation. It's happening. And the ending is pretty much here with the Death card showing up. Now, I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but maybe just because I'm a fan of the show. But when Death would show up in the show, it was pretty much immediate. He was beyond the Grim Reaper in the show. So he was, everything that he represented was very clear. So in the instance of you, the idea that death is coming in, and what I see as symbolism, especially when I think about how this deck was created, using the show's influence, right? And me being a fan, I certainly love reading these cards. This is fantastic for you. It's coming to an end. So if you feel like, oh my God, I can't make it anymore, you can make it. You're here. You're so here. Just hang on a little bit longer. Now this hangs in very well to, it's actually the Nine of Blades in the deck, but of course that relates to the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is talking about here, you just need to hang on a little longer. This is a point of, it's an opportunity for courage. It's an opportunity to focus on being positive. So even though right now it feels like there's no hope left, you'll be fine. You're gonna make it. You'll be okay. Just, this is the way I see it is like, this is your final kind of, it's your final moment. It's like that final call, you've already seen the sign of the ending. It's here. So if you are struggling with something and just hoping for an ending and fighting your brain because you want to overthink it, you want to keep thinking about it and you're letting it go, hats off. That's one of the hardest things to do. I have a difficult time doing that myself. But yeah, it's just, you're doing it. Okay, so let's find out more. So full moon, what's happening for you? Pile one during this full moon. What do they? So we kind of know what you need to continue doing. But now we're going to actually, I'm going to switch decks to the Light Seers Tarot. Okay. Maybe get some clarity around why you need to keep facing true north. Maybe the situation that's causing you to, like, what's, I want a little clarity on that, like why. Okay, 5 of Wands came out in reverse. On top of another 5 of Pentacles, so 5 may be significant for you. We are in the 5th month, and this is going to be a full moon and eclipse. That could be significant as well. If you're kind of a moon child and you just feel the elements of the moon, eclipse is one of the most powerful seasons, then this could mean something and be significant. Okay, so we also pull out Magician. King of Cups. Well, you've done a lot of work. Pile 1. You've done a lot of work. Ace of Pentacles. Lovely. This looks absolutely fantastic. Okay. So, the 5 of Wands came out in reverse. This card is typically about, you look at this here and it could be viewed as conflict. When I see this card, a lot of times I focus on the fact that everybody's reaching for this fire, and it's almost like this internal struggle we face. Like, it's not even really about the other person, it's just trying to get closer to it. Whatever this is for you, it can reflect conflict, right? But because it's in reverse, if there's anything where you're avoiding conflict, now's the time to face it. That's what this is talking about. As you face your true north, most of the time, a lot of times we want to take the passive route, and maybe that is appropriate in your circumstance. But for those people where it's not, and you'll know it because it's going to resonate, it's time. It's time to do what you need to do and not just avoid it, like step into it with respect for all parties, right? And say what you need to say, do what you need to do, make that decision. Whatever it is, it's time to move forward. This goes into the Magician. Now this is where it's pretty incredible, and this is how I know you've done a lot of work. You have the Magician lined up with the King of Cups and then to the Ace of Pentacles. The Magician card here, what I see it to be is a confirmation of you're very resourceful. You have everything you need to tackle this challenge. And hence, it's playing in very well with the King of Cups, that emotional stability, that emotional mastery. You've done that. When we look at the initial cards that came out and how the story is kind of unfolding for you, we talked about wanting to overthink and you're not allowing it to happen and waiting for the ending to come. This is why you can do that. If you look at this here, you're perfectly able, as the King of Cups on top of the Death card, you have the emotional maturity to wait for this ending. This is confirmation. Now, for a few of you, you may be like, I know I'm emotionally mature to handle this, but I don't want to, right? And if you feel that way, I get it. Like, none of us want to go through some of these things, and the ending sometimes can't come fast enough. But the ending is here. And with that, you have all the skills to see it through. So if you're on one hand where, you notice how both these individuals are silent, right? And they're sitting with themselves and sitting in the moment and really embracing their personal power. It's important for you to be consciously aware of your actions. Step in, don't do it with an unawakened mind. Don't do it, where you're not paying attention to details. Do it with certainty and absolute precision. Whatever decisions you decide to do here. So if it is the fact that you have to step into what could potentially be a conflicting situation, then be clear about the outcome you want, handle it in a non-emotional way. You have all the skills to do that here. Okay, and then we have the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is a very fun card because we talk about new opportunities, especially new financial opportunities, prosperity, ultimately planting seeds for the future. And that's really symbolized here with, you see how the pentacle has new growth, like new roots on it. As you're dealing with the situation, remember you're already doing it. Keep doing what you're doing and look forward to new opportunities. Be open to new ideas. Be open to the fact that this is your time. You can start building and planting the seeds for your future. And that may help while you're waiting for this ending to come. Sometimes we do need a distraction, because otherwise if we keep thinking about it, it seems like it's taking forever. So yeah, I mean, it's like a kid. I remember as a kid, like the week before we're going to Disneyland, like that week was like the longest in my life, like counting down and every night. And then the night before, and how long did that night take, right? So it's almost like when we feel this, when you're really either excited or just ready for something to just be done, right? You may be feeling that energy here. And if you are, it's perfectly fine. Okay, we have some clarification cards here. I'm going to pull a few more cards, tarot cards, and then from there we'll go into some oracle. So what we're asking is, what's happening for you during this full moon? Judgment, beautiful card, bunch of birds. Okay, we're going to take this step by step here. So we're on top of this Five of Pentacles in reverse energy and the Five of Wands in reverse energy, and we're just kind of seeing that what needs to be resolved here will be resolved. So from a Pentacle standpoint, you have been showing incredible, like, just, you've been holding on for dear life for that light at the end of the tunnel, right? You've been fighting for it. And then with the Five of Wands, knowing that you may have to make that hard choice of facing conflict, or maybe because you've been overly avoiding it, or it could just be a simple fact that you need to respect that there's differences and let it go. Regardless, judgment's going to come. What does judgment mean in this circumstance? You know, what I see it as here is, it just means that you will take responsibility for what's yours. You'll also be able to release responsibility for it isn't, and you'll be at peace. If you see this bird on top, he is just flying with this kind of peaceful energy. And that's what you'll do here. It's just letting it go, releasing it, and fully being able to put your emotions around it to rest. Now the next up is the Magician and the Hangman. These are your skills right now, the things that you've brought to the table, why you're successful, why you're already doing it, right? The first card out is the Ten of Cups. When I say you've done a lot of work, this is confirmation. Ten of Cups. You're overflowing with abundance. You have spiritual and material abundance. You have this dream come true. You're expanding because of all of the work you've done on yourself. There's a sense of wholeness about who you are. Being able to harness the power, being able to see things from a different perspective, being able to go in and understand that, you know what, I need to surrender to this situation and let it go. And being able to do that even when there's a part of you that doesn't want to do it. This is huge. And this is confirmation with the Ten of Cups. You're moving in the right direction. You're embarking on something that's going to make you content. It's going to make you happy because you're embracing your magician energy. You're embracing what you can control and what you can't control, and finding peace. Next one up. This is the Eight of Swords in reverse. So Eight of Swords in reverse, you know, what we're seeing here is like a cocoon. It looks like a monarch butterfly, and eight swords headed its way. Any type of self-limiting beliefs, any type of doubt You're releasing it. You're no longer in a victim energy. You are stepping into your power. And that is reflected by your emotional mastery. You mastered your emotions here, and you're waiting for this ending that's coming very quickly. But the King of Cups shows you've emotionally mastered where you're at. And so this card really represents for you, you've come a long way. There's no victimization. There's no like, oh my God, all these things happen to me and you're not taking responsibility for your actions. It's just not happening anymore. You are taking responsibility for your actions. Okay? Oh. And 8 of Pentacles in reverse. There's a spider in the middle. Okay? So this is on top of like your new opportunities, what's coming in. So the 8 of Pentacles in reverse talks about really, we want to avoid any desire to seek shortcuts on your new endeavor and avoid perfectionism. When you're doing this new endeavor, as you're reframing your energy from you're remembering to face true north, you're already doing it, and you're sitting with your emotional mastery. It doesn't mean you can be emotionally mastered, and not every once in a while just want to hit back, just not want to like take, not want to roll over in a way, you just want to deal with it. You want to bring this death card to fruition. You want to end this circumstance. Because you're emotionally mature, you will have those times still where you have those desires, but you'll be able to rein it in and refocus and reframe. As you refocus and reframe, you want to refocus and reframe with positive energy, with helpful energy. So that means that you want to avoid any type of perfectionistic, we'll say tendencies. If you have a tendency to just want to be perfect right out the gate, you're starting a new endeavor, no. You're planting the seeds for the future, right? Remember that, remember the roots here. Don't grow the roots with negativity, grow them with positivity. Grow them, where you are sitting with something that you can feel proud of and that you're building it with the energy you want to maintain it. So remember that. You want to build something with the energy you want to maintain it. So take any negativity out of this. This is supposed to be exciting. This is supposed to be your Christmas morning energy, going out, on a trip you've always wanted to go on. Like that is supposed to be something that gets you excited. And with that, then, this kind of warning card of just don't fall into, we'll say, previous cycles. Just avoid that. If you have a tendency to want to do a shortcut because you can get started faster, don't. Enjoy the process. The process a lot of times is just as enjoyable as the outcome. Because all the steps along the way, you meet new people, you're experiencing new things. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to some oracle cards. First, we're going to start with the Starseed Oracle deck. I'll pull a couple cards here. Okay. Here are some cards. My apologies, my allergies are flaring up, so if my voice sounds weird, that's why. So we're starting with the Earth card. Learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. It can feel like that sometimes, right? As you step into emotional mastery, because all of a sudden, the less you react and respond, you start to feel like, well, one, you start to see how many people don't do that, and that can feel like you're alone. So if you're in that space, you're not alone. Like, there's a reason why you're on this reading. I've certainly experienced that. I'm sure a lot of people who watch this video have experienced that. So if you are experiencing that in the world but not of it, that's kind of what it's reflecting, because sometimes it seems like such a positive energy, right? Like to be emotional, emotional mastery, but especially this week with eclipse energy, it may feel isolating. It may be a little frustrating. If you're feeling that, that's okay, because just know you're not alone. It's totally normal. And everybody has their own kind of process on how they work through things. And you just happen to be this master student where you've just done a lot of work on yourself. And so it's kind of like the kid that's in third grade, you know, and you're a PhD student, you can't really expect the third grade to keep up with you. It's kind of like that, right? Maybe not as extreme, but very similar. Everybody's working on different lessons in life at different time frames. And so we need to hold space for that, but we also doesn't mean that we need to change anything about ourselves. Okay, this one is called Sold Gifts and Training. It's time to set up. Whatever your calling is, it may involve some schooling or some training, but it's certainly going to be using your natural gifts. And that's what this card is representing. So whatever this Ace of Pentacles is for you, a new idea, a new like financial opportunity, whatever it is going to lead to prosperity. But it all starts with using your natural gifts and abilities. Maybe it's a calling you've never really shared with anyone. And there may be a need for training. Then they say it's time to step up. You know, that could be the best distraction while you're waiting for this situation to come to an end, is just to focus on something else. I've had similar energy in the last like 2 months where I had to focus on something else. And it's been the best thing for me, honestly. And it led to so much positivity in my life. And I was able to release it. And all of a sudden, the death card for me came through and an ending happened and I'm at peace, right? So just hang in there. And this is very aligned with your reading. Like, all right, time to just line up to the next step. Your life is a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative accountability. You are you're the magician. And a creative accountability, that can be just being responsible to go after your gifts. Don't cut yourself short. You know, you're meant to do this for a reason. There's a reason why you have this call. Go after it. It's totally what you're meant to have. An extra card came out for you. So this one is Empathetic Starseed, Energetic Sovereignty, Absorbing What's Not Yours. Okay. This gives me a little bit more clarity about you facing true north and waiting for outcomes to come to an end. If anybody is putting stuff on you that you're trying to fix or you're trying to figure out like why they feel that way or whatever, and you've done everything you can do, you notice here it's like she's almost looking at a portal, and it could even be a mirror. And then underneath it says absorbing what's not yours. If you're a starseed, you could have a tendency to do that. If you're an empath, you have a tendency to do that. If you're both, forget it. It's happening. Remind yourself that's theirs, it's not yours. Step out of that responsibility. It's not your responsibility to fix. Remember, you're already doing it. You're already doing everything you need to do to step into where you're meant to be. Trust that and release the rest. Okay. In honor of the full moon, we're going to pull from the Moonology deck. I'm just going to pull a few cards here. So, Oracle cards, Moonology. What's happening for pile one during for this full moon? We're going to ask for what kind of parting wisdom do you need to just kind of survive this time? This card's been coming out a lot in the last couple of weeks. Balance spirituality and practicality. If you're a starseed, or you're an empath, or even if you're just a person where you are spiritual, you have spiritual things, but you're still living on planet Earth, we can all use this advice, right? This is full moon in Pisces. So Pisces could be significant for you. Your commitment is being tested, first quarter moon. When we talk about called, and it's your time to step up and your commitment's being tested, commit to yourself. It's not your commitment to other people. You'll commit. But it's like making the time and putting out the energy for yourself. Challenge that. Here we go. Prosperity lies ahead. New moon in Taurus. We're almost in Taurus energy. Or Taurus, are we in Taurus season? We are in Taurus season. This is perfect. New moon in Taurus. So, what I'm seeing here for you, it aligns with the Ace of Pentacles, right? This new financial opportunity. Prosperity lies ahead. We talked about prosperity for you, so that's confirmation even further. A personal issue reaches resolution. What do we talk about with the Death card? This is the full moon in Cancer. I'll tell you what, you're right on your way. It's just being a little patient. I know that's awful. Trust me. Patience is, at times I'm fantastic at it, and at other times I'm just over it. So I totally get it. All right, pile one, thanks for joining me. This concludes your messaging. Please let me know your thoughts on this. I'm actually kind of curious if you're willing to share what's been going on. Like, does this resonate with you? So let me know. Like, subscribe, and yes, thanks for hanging out. I will put out another card reading soon. I hope you join me then. Take care. Hello, pile two. Thanks for joining the reading. We'll go ahead and get started. Sorry, I just realized I moved that a little out of frame there. Okay, you chose the labradorite and the card Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. Okay, I'd like to remind you this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. I did pull a couple of tarot cards from the Supernatural Tarot card deck. And the question we have today is, what's happening for pile two this full moon? So with that, we're going to lay out the cards here. Okay. What is happening for pile two? So first, we're looking at the Keepers of the Earth and ancient ancestors standing beside you. So you have this connection with past ancestors. You know, they're guiding you. I wouldn't be surprised if you're a spiritual person, someone who's really connected with your grandparents, with your parents, with your family line. That could resonate. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. You know, again, take what resonates, leave the rest. But we'll go ahead and get started. So this starts with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And this is actually the Ten of Pentagrams in this deck. So it being in reverse shows there's been some sort of loss in your life recently, and it's hit at a pretty, we'll say, significant time. So it's not even just a significant person, but it's a time in your life where you're really feeling it. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of someone like getting married and losing a parent, where you automatically assume they'd be part of the process, and now they're not going to be. But it is a difficult time. And so this card here is really the way it's playing out. And I'm going to hold it up again. So you see, like, ancestral energy is here, and it all feeds down to this woman here. But that ancestor's up on top. I believe this card is reminding you too. It says you are not alone. Sometimes it can feel like you are, is the way I'm picturing it, just because there's been recent loss in your life. So whether it could be death, but it could also be mental illness. It could be someone moving away and just not being as close anymore and feeling that loss. Because regardless, a loss is a loss, right? When you have someone in your life that you're constantly depending on and they're gone, it can feel really challenging to rebuild. And the Sun card follows it up. This one's also in reverse. On the show, this was a girl named Charlie, and she was beloved. So the Sun card being reversed definitely is significant here. We think about just feeling down. You're just not exactly in the mindset that you wish to be in, and you just, it's a difficult time. Because we have full moon energy coming up, with full moon energy, a lot of things expand. So if this is a difficult time you're struggling this week, please know we're all thinking about you and that things will shift. Things will get better. But really, meditate on this card here. You are not alone. Anxious ancestors stand beside you. Now, very quickly, the tone of the reading shifts. So it's like they're acknowledging how you're feeling. And then we come into the Two of Blades, which is, of course, the Two of Swords. You're currently, right now, you have some opposing ideas and maybe some even opposing memories. And that's something that is kind of taking your mind a little bit. You're trying to figure out a tough choice. As you're working through that challenge, making a tough decision, Spirit is encouraging you to take on the Fool energy to resolve this issue. So with the Fool energy is a sense of spontaneity. It's about just going for something, taking the risk. So if you're having a difficult time making a choice, and you're weighing both options and you're trying to figure it out, and then it's like, oh my God, I remember I did this before and this happened, and maybe that's coming in, or you have opposing ideas, like as far as like kind of arguing yourself into a pro or con list, but it never ends. This is your confirmation to let it end. New beginnings, a fresh start, taking the risk. It's important for you to start thinking about that possibility versus just weighing them equally. Start focusing in on the Fool energy. Like, what happens if I let this be a new beginning? What happens if I approach this with an innocent mind and you just like a leap, like you're taking a leap? Like in the classic tarot deck, it's like he's taking a leap off of like a cliff in the Rider-Waite Tarot. Picture that and ask yourself, how does that apply to my situation? How would that work in my pro and con list? How would this work? Like, how do I resolve this difficult decision? Okay, I'm going to pull some more cards now. Some more clarifying cards. We're going to start with the Tower card. This is good. It shows this energy isn't going to last long. This energy of I think it's not a Ten of Pentacles, right? Yeah, Ten of Pentacles in reverse. It's not going to last very long. The Tower card here is signifying something really lovely for you, because it's signifying that, it needs to be torn down for you to step into better energy. So that's happening very soon. So it's like you're going to be released from whatever emotional challenges you're having right now, or whatever conflict. Ten of Wands follows up next. We have a lot of tens here with, Ten of Pentacles in reverse. If 10 could be significant for you, if it is, just, you may want to think about that. But yeah, so the Ten of Wands. This is a beautiful card because it talks about just taking an opportunity to free yourself. Wherever you could take an opportunity to free yourself from something that's like a heavy burden, do so. Because remember how the Sun card is in reverse? It's almost like this is your answer to bring it back upright. This is your answer. So it's like the Sun card in the upright, we're talking about something that is warmth and success and positivity and happiness and all these things that we go after our entire lives. The advantage of having it reversed under this deck is that it told you with the Ten of Wands, all you have to do is to release it. So if you're finding yourself having a tendency to want to hold on, let it go. Just let it go. Because remember, The upheaval's happening right now so that you can be awakened, so that you can let it go and release your heavy burdens. You notice this girl here is walking, and it's a very heavy burden on his back. But her dress indicates something kind of flowy and free. And she has her wands all in a suitcase, and she has one in her hand, but she doesn't look as burdened anymore as she's come down this hill that lit her way. Okay? You're free to release it. And it's okay. And don't rush yourself either, because sometimes we just need to work through things. So don't feel like either, like the answer is right now after this reading, I gotta release it. No, like if it's not aligned for you to release it right now, then it's just not aligned. But just know this step is coming. The next one here is the Knight of Swords coming out on the Two of Blades. This difficult decision, we talked about this. So with the Knight of Swords, what it represents is now you're taking action. Because remember we talked about thinking about the full energy and meditating on it. You're going to have an answer. This is confirmation. You're going to take sudden action. You're going to move. So this is confirmation. If you feel like, oh, I've been so stagnant and I don't know what I'm going to do and having frustration around that, trust you will get there. You're going to get exactly where you need to go. Let's see if we can any more clarifying cards here. Three of Wands. Three of Wands. So you're looking out. You know, when you think of the Three of Wands and you look at this picture, she's looking out at the ocean. She's carrying a surfboard. There's 3 wands lit up by her. And she's looking ahead. She's waiting for something too, right? But she's looking ahead. This is an energetic movement too. It doesn't look like she's waiting too long as her foot is starting to move up. It's time to go. It's time to make some choices. It's time to figure out this tough decision. And once you know the answer, you're going to move with vigor. And you're also going to be looking ahead at all those things, at, we'll say, the positive things that are coming from that. And so with that, I'm going to switch decks here. I'm going to get a couple clarifying cards as well, tarot, and then we'll switch to oracle. What's happened for you this full moon? What is happening for pile 2 this full moon? So we have the Two of Wands up here. We have the Two of Swords here, so a lot of 2s as well. That could be significant for you. We have the Seven of Pentacles, upright. 4 of Cups, upright. Son of Swords, upright. Okay. So we're going to go through the Two of Wands. Here we go. Two of Wands on top of the Tower, on top of like this kind of what you've been going through with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. The Two of Wands here talks about making decisions and just stepping out into new adventures. It's time. Much like the Three of Wands, it's time. So that Tower card that happened, you're going to instantly be able to sit and clear your mind and to start thinking about, okay, what's next? And be okay with that. Don't feel guilty about that. It's okay to move on and get excited for what's next. Okay, and then we have the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles here is talking about having a long-term view. So see, it's starting to become a theory. A theme, sorry. It's starting to become a theme. A long-term view. Going at something with perseverance. Going at something with intention. And keep going. So there's a lot of action here with her walking down the hill and kind of stepping into just moving forward. So now you're going to be stepping out again with the Seven of Pentacles, this long-term view in mind. Now it's time to go on a journey. Now it's time to keep going. Keep the momentum. going. We have another card here, which is the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups energy is talking about, as you're doing this process, it signifies contemplation. You do have a little bit of introspection to do here. You do have some contemplation to do in order to activate this Knight of Swords. So you already know that. We've talked about it. This is confirmation of that yet again. So give yourself time to think it out. Don't just force yourself into the new beginning. Think about it and think about what makes sense for you. And again, don't force anything before you're ready. The Son of Swords. The Son of Swords represents the Knight of Swords. So it's the same as this card. So we have a lot of mirroring going on, right? So we have the Knight of Swords. That's further confirmation. So again, what did we say about the Knight of Swords? This is action-oriented. This is something where you're moving ahead and moving forward. So as she's looking out, she's still doing it with the intention of movement with her foot lifted up, right? So with that in mind, I think it's time for us to switch to the Oracle deck, but yeah, this is looking good. You're heading in the right direction. You may, you're not alone. You're not alone. It may feel that way, but everything is shifting. And it's shifting in such a positive way for you. What blessing? What do you need to keep in mind, and what blessings? Okay. All right. The Seas of Mintaka. Seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Anything that's in your unconscious mind, it's important for you to take the time to think about that. So we talk about the tough decisions that you have to make, and we've talked about some internal kind of thought process on how you can align and kind of choose a new direction and get excited about that direction. All that plays out. And with the Two of Wands underneath this card, further symbolism to that, right? Because it was about, what was it? New adventures, making decisions. Bring your unconscious to light. Where do you want these new adventures at? What decision here would bring you joy? The next card up is the Messenger. Serious energy, bringing harmony and balance. Whatever decision you make sure it feels harmonious and balanced to you. It's not about what other people think of it, but does it make sense to you? Does it align for you? Interesting, this card came out. Forge, don't follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. That's true Fool energy, isn't it? The Fool is going off the cliff, trusting it and going for it, paving a new path. That's exactly what you're doing here, and I believe is what you're meant to do. Last card out of this deck, the Golden Children, inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. If you're to remind yourself of your child self, show yourself that sense of what they say, tenderness. And when we think about innocence, we talked about innocence with the Fool card, so it's ironic it's right over here too, right? It always plays together in a beautiful way. Embracing that innocence is your rare gift. You're going to be able to do this, and that's going to help with your decisions and with what's next in life, and to release the pain and the sadness that's just happening. Okay, it wouldn't be a full moon reading without pulling from another deck here. We're going to pull from the Moonology deck. Interesting. This came out in the previous reading, pile 1. So pile 1, if you're in the fence on that, I would take a look at it. New moon in Taurus. This is perfect. We're in Taurus season. Prosperity lies ahead. You have a prosperous future. You just have to decide how you're going to go about it and what makes sense for you, and not to second guess where you're headed. Like, trust your instincts. Show the world the real you. Full moon in Aquarius. Maybe that's part of your decision challenges, is you're maybe hesitant to show who you really are. There's no judgment in that. It's hard to show ourselves, especially if we feel like we wouldn't be supported, especially if we feel like we're alone. Because if you feel that way, then there's going to be more of a tendency to want to just kind of, we'll say, do what's socially acceptable or what's socially pleasing and what's more normal, and not step out into maybe an area you want to step out into. If any of this resonates, then know that you're being urged to just make this decision, forge your new path, and go for it. I know this is easier said than done, and I'm actually going to pause because I keep having this feeling that I need to pull more cards on these two. So I'm going to pull a couple tarot cards on Forge, Don't Follow, Pave a New Path, Be the Leader That You Wish You Had, and the Inner Child and the Innocence, the Rare Gifts. Any other messages in the tarot? Oh, look what popped out. Oh, I love it. Okay. 3 cards just flew out. Okay. The 6 of Swords. These are clarifiers for these oracle cards here. The 4 of Pentacles. And the Sun in the upright. This is what we like to see. When you're lucky enough to get it, you have the Sun in reverse, but then now they're telling you, how can we bring it to the upright? 6 of Swords. This is a change. This is a big time for you, and you're changing. And it talks about here with this is moving beyond the trauma. Letting go whatever you need to let go. And also understand it's part of your personal evolution. This is part of who you're becoming. So I want you to focus on this card. Notice that she has a suitcase in hand. She's off. Doesn't look like, there's no one with her, right? And she's headed toward a shore. So she came from somewhere else. If you're not ready for this, that's fine. But this is where you're headed. The full moon energy kind of talks about what's coming to fruition. And with that, this is where you're headed. You have the ability to really just transition. You have the ability to change. You have the ability to move forward. Okay? We talked about personal evolution. That's exactly what you're doing here. The 4 of Pentacles comes in. Further talking about this story, right? Let's just really look at this card. Stop trying to control your outcomes, because you can't always control them. It's important to stay in flow with the universe. So you see how she's gripping her 4 of Pentacles purse. This is where that innocence, tenderness, that inner child, if you're too calculated, you're going to miss your joy. And you're not going to have as much fun along the way, which is important. You've gone through a tumultuous time. But you're being promised with the Sun in the upright. Let's talk about this card. Let's really absorb this energy. Look how bright it is. Look how colorful it is. Look how she's just radiating. Doesn't have a care in the world. We're talking about an incredibly positive card. The card of warmth, of happiness, of success. You will have all of those things. That's where you're headed. So as you see this through, at times it's going to be very easy to not want to show the real you to the world. But remember, prosperity lies ahead. The next oracle card out was a personal issue reaches resolution. Interesting. This also came out with pile 1. Okay. Personal issue reaches resolution. This will resolve for you. This feeling that you have, whatever it is, it's going to resolve. And Look how the moon card came out and told you, and a full moon in eclipse nonetheless. Conclusions are within reach, and it's a full moon eclipse. This is such a confirmation for you. This is happening. It's happening. You're going to be fine. It's going to come together just fine. They're within reach. You're being promised. And there's two extra came out, so I'm going to read them for you. Communication is key. So make sure you're communicating. This is a new moon in Gemini. This could be significant since Gemini is coming right after Taurus. So just remember, there's going to be times where you need to really communicate. Say your piece. Do that. You're safe to communicate. And the energy is gaining momentum. Waxing moon. The energy is headed exactly where you want it to be. This is a challenging time, but you'll get through it. You will get through it. And you're not alone. So just remind yourself you're an incredibly powerful person. You have this. You obviously have a lot to look forward to. You got the Sun card. I mean, that's a huge card for you to have. And the upright. And it also, there's a lot of reassurance along the way. You're getting prosperity. Whatever's bothering you is, conclusions are within reach. And it's interesting that the candle went out with your reading, so that's kind of showing conclusion really is within your reach, huh? Great timing. Can't even plan that one. Okay. With that, pile 2, thank you for joining my reading. Please send me a comment. Let me know how you felt about the reading. I'd love to hear if any of this resonated for you. And like, subscribe. And yes, just there's a lot of readers out there. Thanks for joining and listening. And I look forward to you joining me again with another pick a card. Until then, have a great evening. Bye. Hi, pile 3. Thanks for joining me. If you selected the rose quartz here, or if you selected birthing a new age, this card, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. This is your deck. This is your pile. I pre-shuffled a couple of tarot cards, so I'm going to share these. This is from the Supernatural Tarot deck. And please keep in mind this is a general reading, so use what resonates, don't worry about the rest. And if you have, I would say, like if you start listening and it doesn't resonate with you at all, then just pick another pile. Okay? And so we have interesting. Okay, so we have the 9 of Pentagrams in reverse. Hold on, I forgot the previous candle went out on my last reading, so I'm going to fix that really quick. Okay, there you go. All right, perfect. So, birthing a new age, dreaming a new world into being. You are working to completely reinvigorate your life. The 10 of Pentacles in reverse, let's start there. So it's showing that there's a little bit of fear of loss. It's a negative energy around, I would say, money, but in the sense of having enough money to go after what you want. I have a feeling here, pile 3, that you have a goal in mind. It's either like, could be a business, could be like a side hustle, it could be a promotion at work, it could be like something career-oriented. Frankly, it could be traveling and a new adventure and trying to find funding for that. Like something to do with, though, a goal around money. I'm feeling a bit disenchanted by it. It's it's just not coming together the way you hope it would come together. And it's a bit frustrating because you have, when I talk about dreaming a new world into being, it's like you have a very clear vision of what you want. Other piles have, there's been different things that have come up, and pile two, like they weren't clear 100% what they wanted, and they need to make a tough choice and kind of deal with some things. For you, you're 1,000% clear, but you're frustrated because it's like, I don't have the resources to really like bring my mind's eye to make that happen. But I see this message goes so much farther for you. So you have a major arcana here, the Lover's card. In each one of these readings, I try to talk a little bit about the supernatural cards because they're a bit unusual. So the supernatural deck is cards from the show, and this is Sammy and his girlfriend. This was at the very beginning of the show, and it's the Lover's card. So she turns out to be incredibly important to Sammy, even though they're not together very long. Sorry, spoiler. But it's this love, love of his life kind of a thing. When we think about the Lover's card, we think about harmony and relationships. And what I see here is like, that's part of this new world you want to bring into being. It's new love, or it's reinvigoration to relationships, like bringing back those great days. Like, doesn't mean it has to be a new person. It could be a person you're with, but just wanting to bring back some excitement or some passion or some sense of connection back into the relationship. But regardless, a relationship goal is right here with the finance goals. It's really wanting to bring to light a harmonious, loving, passionate relationship. It's followed up by the Five of Bones, which is also the Five of Wands. This card is interesting because it talks about you do have a sense of ambition. And there could be times where you're feeling like this new world that you want to bring into being, almost like, is there a conflict? Because, like I said, you have these financial goals. Maybe let's just say you want to go after travel writing and you also want to bring in the love of your life. You're like, well, how does that work? Like, if I'm traveling and I'm a travel writer and I'm like, let's just say on Instagram, and I'm doing the whole thing and living that life I've always wanted to live, that kind of a nomadic traveling life, how am I going to meet this person? But I don't want to do it alone. It's things like that. And that's what I see. It's almost like this internal conflict with what you want to manifest because you're trying to make sense of it. Like, I don't understand how A and B could come together. Like, they seem so different. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And so this is followed up by the King of Pentagrams. This is a promise. So the King of Pentagrams is actually in the show, the King of Hell. And he represents in classic tarot the King of Pentacles. Spiritual and material abundance, having a legacy. These are goals for you. You want long-term success. You want prosperity, but you also want community. You also want relationships. And you're trying to figure out, how can all of this come together? How can I get what I'm looking for? Okay, let's go ahead and ask. Let's ask Tarot. So what's happening for you this full moon? We know the situation now. We know what you're asking for. My goodness. Cards are just flying out here. And what cards to come out? Knight of Cups. It says it all, right? This guy is holding flowers. There's a horse in back. There's like a picnic, potentially a love note. This is a confirmation that love is coming in. We asked what you could look forward to for what's happening for you this full moon. The energy is shifting around love. It's around this new relationship. What you've been desiring is shifting and it's coming in. There's also, and I'm going to put this here actually. This card came out at the same time, so we had two cards. This is the Four of Wands. This says it all too. Look, celebration. Do these women look like they have money issues? Do they look like they're hindered by some random rules on how they're going to make money? No, not at all. They're celebrating. They're free. The Four of Wands. When we think about this card, this is a big card to contemplate for you. This is about prosperity because, like I said, they don't look like they're struggling, right? They look pretty prosperous. And then the Knight of Cups follows it up saying love, right? The epitome of love. The Four of Wands is pretty much guaranteeing that what you're going after, you're going to hit your milestones. You're going to be prosperous. There's going to be some excitement along the way. You're going to have community. What you believe with the Five of Bones or the Five of Wands is that there's no way you can have both. It wouldn't make sense in your circumstance. You could absolutely have both. You could absolutely have both. Don't pay mind to that any minute. Ten of Swords. This going top of the Five of Wands, I think, is so beautifully symbolic. Time to literally, if you think about the Ten of Swords classic tarot, it's a person lying on their back and 10 swords stabbed in their back. It's a very abrasive card the first time you see it. It's time for you to put an ending to this belief that you can't have both. It's time for you to put an ending to that. And this is like gassing me up because it's just like, I think I'm kind of talking to myself a bit too. I have this tendency to be like, well, that's not realistic. And I don't know how this is going to come together, but I want to manifest it. And like kind of having this internal struggle. This card, the Ten of Swords, is saying in that. You know, the classic, like I said, where he's laying with his back and there's swords in it. Classic Ten of Swords and Rider-Waite tarot deck. Talking way too fast right now. It signifies painful endings. It signifies like loss. It signifies a lot of things we would never want to see. This is one of the most positive cards you got in this reading because it's on top of your conflict card. It's on top of like, hey, you don't believe this can happen? It can certainly happen. In that negative belief, you can have both. Don't believe anyone around you if they tell you, oh, you can't have that. Oh, that would be nice, but you know, you can't have it all. Like, don't listen to anybody. Like, let it go. Your reading is amazing, Pile 3. I don't know who you are, but you're bringing it. Like, you're bringing it in May. This is kicking off this new energy. Now, I didn't say it in the other piles, but I'll say it to you. I should have said it to the others. We're kicking off this energy for full moon energy. Don't feel like it's all going to come to fruition right now. This is kicking off this process. It could all come to fruition in a couple of weeks. It could take longer than that. But just know this is the energy you're currently in. This is what you're going for. You're dreaming a new world into being. And this is how you're doing it. When I said dreaming a new world into being, I'm holding up this High Priestess card for a reason. You notice here she's got the moon on top of her hair, and she has like this energy kind of coming up to the sky. She is in her element. She is vibing. She is understanding what she needs to do. She is trusting herself. She's not giving in to conflict, or in this way sometimes reason, or trying to argue how she's going to get what she wants. She's just tapping into source, tapping into spirit, tapping into her subconscious mind, whatever you want to call it. But she knows she's going to get an outcome that she desires. She's putting out her, what they say, like the universal order. I just watched The Secret not too long ago again. I read the book here and there. It's got some great principles, but one thing that stood out to me this time, well, stands out to me every time, but fresh for this reading is the fact that, you know, one of the examples they use is you want something, and if you're at a restaurant, you order something, and it could be a complicated dish, and they tell you it's going to be 20 or 30 minutes for them to make it. And you're like, okay, you don't feel the need to go and like check in on it all the time. Like you're not like 10 minutes in and being like, I hope they remember my order, and like running back in the kitchen and checking. Like that just seems so absurd. You wouldn't do that. Like you're just like, oh, it's coming. And it would actually take them blowing through the timeline significantly before you would even bother to actually ask about it. Because if it's, for instance, 25 minutes to 20, you probably wouldn't even think to ask during that 5 minutes. You're just like, oh, it's coming. So we have to have that kind of faith about what you're asking for. And I understand it seems conflicting and you can't figure out how it's going to work. Doesn't matter. It will work. It will work. You asked for it. Nine of Swords. This was on the bottom of the deck, but I felt the need to pull it. I think this is important for you to see. This signifies your fear around what you're asking for. The Nine of Swords talks about having the sense of anxiety, of anguish, worry. We were just talking about placing that order to the universe, and if the universe was a kitchen. The problem is a lot of times we don't see the universe as a kitchen in a restaurant that we're out to. We're seeing it as we're not getting what we want. We don't know how to get there. We don't have enough money to go after what we want right now. So let's just say we're in a situation like a job that we don't like, or maybe we're not able to kick off that side hustle like we wanted to. We're not able to experience this or that. And this is just all you want to be able to do. And then it starts spiraling, right? Because then you're just like, well, how am I going to get the love? Because I need this one and I need that one, but then how's that going to work? And now you're back in the Five of Bones, Five of Wands energy. That's how it's happening. It's kind of like leaning too deeply in your anxiety, leaning too much into the fear. It's easy to do, no judgment. It's very easy to do. But we got to release that tendency. I'm going to pull a clarifying card on the Nine of Swords. How do we release Nine of Swords energy for pile 3? Oh, the Devil card came out. A lot of major arcana in your reading. And, Nine of Cups. Okay. I will put Nine of Cups. I'll show you that in a minute. We're going to focus on the Devil. We have to remember our shadow self, and that there's times where we attach to things that are negative to like protect ourselves, right? Because that's what we're used to. So it's like almost like, I don't want to get my hopes up that this is even possible, because if I do, then, and I don't get it, that's going to feel worse, kind of a thing. So it's like, you know, when they talk about the devil's advocate, that's literally what the devil's representing here. That's like where it's happening. So if you find that you're trying to be practical in like your dreams and what you're trying to manifest, don't release it. There's no reason to be practical for your dream. Like, there's no reason. It can happen. It's all laid out here. It can happen. The only reason why you won't get it is yourself, which sounds insane, I know. But the Ten of Swords on top of the Five of Wands we talked about. Now the Devil on top of the Nine of Swords, all is telling us the same story over and over again. We have to let go of any, we'll say, temptation that keeps us thinking small. We have to release the idea that we have to know exactly how it's going to play out and how we're going to get what we want. We have to just have faith. We'll get what we want and just play it out. The Nine of Cups. This follows it up. This is like the truth serum. This is your reality. Your reality is not the devil, and it's not the Nine of Swords. I'm going to hold up the Nine of Swords for you so you can see it. And it's not these things. Like, Nine of Swords is not real. It's literally everything that you're focusing on and worrying about and obsessing about. Remember, leave it to the kitchen to make it. Don't worry about how it's made. Did they order the right ingredients? Do they have everything they need? Don't worry about it. Well, how do they even do this? And are they going to be able to present it the way I want it presented? Again, don't worry about it. These are things we would never do in a restaurant. Let it go. The devil reassuring that, like, okay, now this becomes a pattern. Now I'm going to obsess over it. Now I'm going to think that it's not possible, or I need to save my feelings. And I don't want to hope and dream because it's going to feel so awful if I don't get it. No. The Nine of Cups comes in as the truth serum. Because the Nine of Cups is telling you the reality. Does she look sad here? Does this look like a sad circumstance to you? You know, we started and we had a lot of nines here. 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Swords, and 9 of Cups. You had all the nines. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Now, we come out with the 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups is saying, your dreams are coming true. It's telling you you're going to have fulfillment. Look, does it look like you're poor? You have a treasure chest underneath you. So that's happening. The cup energy often reflects soulmates, true love, dreams coming true. It's pretty much telling you you're going to win the lotto. It's pretty much telling you these cards here are happening, and it's over here on top of your 9 of Swords and on top of the Devil card. Take a moment. If nines mean something to you, look it up, because you have the 9 cards all over the place. But in all seriousness, you have High Priestess energy. You can manifest this. This is your confirmation. You have the King of Pentacles energy. Spiritual material abundance. Wealth. Love is represented here. Celebration is represented here. Everything that you want. You're dreaming a new world into being. And it is a scary process. It's a very scary process. I don't know why I went back to tarot. Let me pull from another tarot deck. I'm going to do the other one. I'll pull these cards down so you can see the full story now as it's unfolding, right? Okay, hopefully that's all. I'm going to pull this one up. That one's incredibly important. In fact, I'll just put on top of these. Really important to remember that. Okay. Any clarifications for the 4 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles? Okay. Wheel of Fortune. The wheel is turning in your favor. So let go of any doubt. It's going to turn in your favor. You're going to get what you want. You're trying to manifest some financial abundance to get what you want, you'll have it. 4 of Wands shows a celebration. The Wheel of Fortune, what is it? It's literally a Wheel of Fortune and is turning in your favor in the upright. Okay. 5 of Pentacles on top of the 9 of Cups. Just avoid a lack mindset. That's all it's warning you to do here. The love is coming in. Avoid a lack mindset. Don't give in to the temptation to believe you're not going to get it. So you have to clear any energy blocks you have. The Son of Pentacles, which is actually the Knight of Pentacles. That's a great one to get because this one talks about how your hard work is paying off. Your hard work here, it's hard to release the past. It is. It's really hard. It's hard to let your inner conflict just relax it. But you can do it. Son of Pentacles is proof of that. Okay, one more. The Moon in reverse. Oh, let me hold it up. Okay. All right, so the Moon card in reverse. When you think about what the Moon is about, it's talking about releasing any fear. It's on top of the High Priestess and the King of Pentacles. Release any fear that you can't get this. That's what we keep coming back to. Nothing in this reading said you can't have it. But it's like this internal struggle that you feel like you can't have it. And trust me, I 1000% relate. When you're manifesting something that you've never experienced before, it's so hard not to be afraid. Release the fear, keep manifesting, and quit arguing with yourself that it's not possible. Don't allow any type of internal, we'll say, negativity to happen. I sat this deck down. I was done. At least I thought I was done. But then this card came out, which was a 2 of Wands. Upright. 2 of Wands. You just remember everything, the possibility of it all. There's a lot that's possible. There's so much that's possible. You can accomplish anything you want. You can manifest anything you want. So just remember that. Like, I think that's the hardest thing, though, especially as we get older. And now, if you hear me shuffling, I'm shuffling the Oracle deck. Believe it's possible. It can totally happen. Okay. Here we go again. They keep telling us. Mars energy, the great severing, anger, conflict, softening to love. Let go of the conflict. That internal conflict is not external. I see it all internal. Let go of it. You're birthing new creations. You're literally creating a love that you've always wanted. And this is insane. That's why I started to laugh. You got the love, hydrogen energy, codependency, boundaries. You got the love. On top of what? The 2 love cards, right? Confirmation. It's coming. It's so coming. You've done the work. Your manifestation's out. The order's in with the kitchen. They know what they're making. Lost land, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before. Pile 3, you've done this before. You know how to manifest. Stop doubting yourself. You're experienced in this. You know how to do it. This one is I'm sorry. Defenselessness, righting past wrongs, uprooting. Uproot any beliefs that aren't serving to your greatest good. It's time. This is what this this is what this full moon energy is bringing in for you. The ability to uproot anything that you need to uproot. It says I'm sorry. It's not a sorry to anybody but yourself. You notice how they're mirroring each other? Don't let yourself fight what you're bringing in. You're manifesting everything that you want. Don't let internal conflicts or limiting beliefs stop you from getting what you want. Okay. Now I'm switching to the Moonology deck. We're going to pull a few more messages here. What is for pile 3? What's happening for them this full moon? A time to give rather than take. Give yourself peace. New moon in Virgo. Give yourself peace. Don't torture yourself anymore. Here's the next one. Your dreams need a practical plan. A full moon in Taurus. We are in Taurus season. This isn't going to be a full moon in Taurus, but nevertheless, we're in Taurus season. This is a good confirmation for you. The practical plans will come. First, you dream. And no, practical plans will come when it's time to come. That's not the point right now. The point right now is a dream. You're very close to achieving your goal. Gibbous moon. What I see for you here is you are close for it all to start to become real. And as it starts to become real and you see that it's happening, then that's when you start inserting this practical plan. It's not time for the bowl yet, but it's almost time. So as long as you give yourself the ability to dream this new world into being, the rest is coming together. You don't have to worry. What does this say? Hold your vision. Hold your vision, pile 3. You're so clear in what you want, and you're meant to have it. Okay. So remember to hold your vision as you're birthing this new age. You're birthing in a new world into being for yourself. This is all going to feel strange, and it's not. You may feel a sense of conflict at times. Write it out. This is what you're meant to do. All right, and with that, that concludes the reading, Pile 3. Thank you so much for your time, for spending time with me. Please like, subscribe, shoot me a comment. Let me know if this resonated, and I'd love to hear from you. But, yes, thank you for your time, and I look forward to bringing another reading to you. Until then, take care, Pile 3. Bye.